The Walt Disney Company, or simply Disney, is one of the largest media companies in the world. It also has several theme parks, the most famous of which is in Paris. Disney has also had a stock exchange listing since 1962 and is part of one of the most important stock exchanges in the world, the Dow Jones Industrial Average Index. So it is possible to invest in Disney. But why would you? In today's video, I am going to tell you on the basis of the flywheel effect why Disney is such a strong name and why it will be around for centuries to come. I am the anonymous businessman and I help people learn more about money and business-related issues. If you want to learn more about these topics in the future, make sure you subscribe and like the video if you enjoy it. It is one of the most famous names in the world. Disney. The company was founded in 1923 by the brothers Roy and Walt Disney. In 2021, the company is one of the largest media conglomerates in the world with more than 200,000 employees and an annual turnover of $60 billion. An immense company with a rich history. For Disney, storytelling is the core of the company. The list of Disney productions is endless and very diverse and has grown over the years. By storytelling, the company means creating whole new worlds and characters with their own stories. All these stories are distributed worldwide and are enormously popular. To understand this diverse company, let's look at its different business units. To start with the studio's content. This is the creative corner of Disney. This is where the new Mickey Mouse stories are created. Or sometimes the new stories are just bought. Some stories were created by other companies such as Pixar Studios and Marvel. Because of the great competitive advantage that Disney has, these companies were taken over by Disney and are now all part of the Walt Disney Company. The studio's content is perhaps the most important part of the Disney Company. But, more about that later when we look at the flywheel effect of Disney. The next business unit is Disney Parks, Experience and Products. They focus on the places where the characters can come to life from the screen. Think of the various theme parks such as Walt Disney World in Florida, Disneyland Paris and Disney Resort Shanghai. In addition, Disney operates cruise ships and there is all kinds of merchandise for sale via the Disney Store. The third division of the company is general entertainment content. This is the traditional way of getting people to watch the screen with television. Disney owns a variety of television stations with their own Disney channels. The company also owns news and sports channels, as well as National Geographic. The largest part of the turnover comes from this business unit, but that will probably become less in the coming years. After all, we are watching less and less TV. And finally, there is Disney Media and Entertainment Distribution. Fortunately, Disney recognized in time that the new money must come from the digital world because the world of streaming is where we are spending more and more screen time. A market with an expected annual growth rate of around 20%. In November 2019, Disney Plus was launched as a streaming service. A year and a half later, in April 2021, it has more than 100 million subscribers, making it the second largest in the world after Netflix with 200 million. But why is it important to know all these different business units? This has everything to do with the flywheel effect. The idea of the flywheel is actually very simple. To make it easy, you can think of cycling. Cycling takes a lot of energy to get going. But once the wheel is spinning at some speed, it is quite easy, costs you little energy, to keep it spinning. This is the flywheel effect. Jim Collins first announced this principle to the general public. It is, like the snowball effect and other business models, focused on long-term thinking. There is a very important factor to keep a flywheel going and that is the driver or input. The input must stay because otherwise the whole flywheel will stop. For the management, it is therefore very important that everything is done to ensure that the input remains in the flywheel. If you can monitor this part of the flywheel, you can, in principle, always keep going. The management has to understand where that part of the flywheel is located in the company. If you understand the flywheel of a company well, you can also see whether the management is making the right choices. You can ask yourself the question whether a decision taken by the management helps to maintain the momentum of the wheel or possibly causes it to stop. We now return to Disney. The 4 business units can be placed in the wheel. Returning to what I've just told you, Disney operates from the creative studio. The goal is not to only make a beautiful film, but to create a complete world that makes the wheel turn. That is why Disney will not release just any film. There must always be a bigger story behind it. Characters should be able to live in theme parks, appear on lunch boxes, get a series on TV and in comic books, and they have their own music. At Disney, there is so much more than just a film or a simple character. This does make it harder to make films compared to other media companies such as Netflix. Netflix's Flywheel is all about getting new subscribers. By making new content, Netflix gets more subscribers. By getting more subscribers, Netflix gets more money. And more money allows Netflix to make more content. And so the wheel keeps spinning. Disney has to take many more factors into account. The most important aspect in the flywheel of Disney is therefore the creative studio. If the creative studio did not take into account the aspects of the whole company, chances are that Disney would not have become the company it is today. Mickey Mouse would have been long forgotten and it would have had to compete with a lot of other filmmakers. The wheel would have stagnated long ago. But the company made and will be making new content about new or existing characters. So, why will Disney be around for centuries to come? The management knows perfectly well the place of the flywheel in the company. The characters are made so that there are as many revenue streams as possible. Stories can continue to be made up about the characters so that it remains interesting. New characters are also added. New characters with new worlds to discover and eventually grow into lifelong heroes. It is almost impossible for competitors of Disney to match the success that Disney has achieved and built up in its long history. I therefore have great confidence in the company and I am sure that Disney will never disappear from our world.